Let's talk about it. Today we have a video clip from the YouTube page, The Saint. I will leave the link in the description where he actually interviews a local Wilmington, Delaware resident who helped Umar Johnson actually find the FDMG Academy. With that being said, let's get into the clip.
Well, I'm gonna try to turn my light on so you can possibly see me here.
Okay.
And I don't know why. Okay. Thank you for allowing me to get on because I
Sure.
live here.
You
I
live
live.
in Wilmington, Delaware.
Matter of fact, I'm the one
Mhm.
who introduced the schools. Do you hear an echo?
I don't think so.
Okay. I'm the one who introduced Dr. Umar Johnson to the schools and
Okay.
the maker of the schools.
Okay.
So,
Wow. So you have a lot of good information then.
yeah, I was trying to see because when I first seen what you were trying heard what you were trying to do,
Mhm.
I thought it was a good idea.
Mhm.
I thought it was a good idea.
Just going to pause right there to give some context. The gentleman on the left, I believe he made an offer to Umar Johnson to pay the $40,000 in the vacant property fees that he has. I believe he's involved in real estate and he buys like distressed properties. So he made an offer to Umar Johnson. I don't think he accepted it. Just so we're aware of what's going on.
I wanted to know what your vision was so I can contact some people here because here's the problem. You're going to need Delaware behind you. And that to me is one of the biggest problems that he had. He
Mhm.
would have events, and the only people that would come from Delaware would be the people that I bring there to
I
his
see.
event.
Mhm.
So when I heard him say that the community was not involved, I'm like, how is the community? Let me try to turn one side on. Excuse me, my quick. That's still probably not light up enough. But how is he going to say the community did not assist him when he's not involved in the community?
Yes.
You have to involve yourself. It's a lot of people. See, Wilmington is small, and the
Oh yeah.
people that
I mean, hell, Delaware is small.
yeah, it's small, but where we live at is really small, and the people here are like family net.
Okay.
So I told him from the beginning, you have to involve the people here in Wilmington, you know what I mean, to make this all come to fruition.
Let's pause it right there. See, she's operating under the wrong premise. She's operating under the premise that Umar Johnson actually wanted to really open a school for black boys. See, that's not the case at all. See, I've been following Umar for quite some time, and what a lot of people don't understand that was a money grab from the very beginning. This was a scam. This school was never going to open and never was going to see the light of day. So when you're operating under this false premise that Umar Johnson really wanted to open a school for black boys, you're going to be confused because everything he's done up to this point has made no sense. No one in their right mind is going to think that they're going to open up a school by themselves. They're going to be the principal, they're going to be the general contractor, they're going to be the spokesperson. Again, they're going to be the only person on the board of directors. It just doesn't make sense. And a lot of people confuse that. They think that Umar Johnson actually wanted to open a school when in fact this was a scam. And Umar Johnson has a history of scamming throughout his career.
This would have been done.
When you say this
So
would have been done, are you
the
talking
school
about
would have been
the?
open. The
Okay.
school would have been open, but things happened that
Mhm.
caused it to be a negative atmosphere for him. The
Mhm.
positiveness where everybody was so, I had a couple events with him and everything. So I was kind of promoting him here to Delaware. You know what I'm saying? We were all
When you
excited
say
about
Delaware, you're talking about like the people, the citizens of Delaware, not necessarily the government.
right. But even the mayor, everybody would have been involved. The person he has for city council for that particular area is wonderful. Her
Okay.
name is Anthea Oliver. She is in everything. Like she has events all the time. She would have involved herself, but
Mhm.
different things took place and it kind of like messed it up for him in a
Okay.
sense. So
Mhm.
I wanted you to know that I don't know how you're trying to come in. or even if you even need him, because I made some phone calls
I
already.
appreciate it. Okay.
I'm going to let you know that I made some phone calls to find out what really was needed, if that much money was really needed,
Yes.
was anything. Because you had already said, I heard you when you said, I'm not putting no money in his hand.
Correct.
You'll be putting money in the city's hands. You
Yeah.
understand
So
what I'm saying? He don't owe nothing for the I believe I was told his county amount is already paid up.
mhm,
I think it's overpaid from my understanding.
mhm.
Okay. But the other money is due. But here's the situation.
I think she's referring to I'm not sure if she's referring to the vacant property fees. I will be doing a follow-up video. I have heard that Umar Johnson has um, arranged a payment plan for that 40,000. So the schools has been removed from the auction block. So that's going to be another monthly bill that the donors are going to have to finance.
Were you, because you know where, have you ever been to the schools? Do you know where they are?
No, and that's one of the things that I'd have to check out. But what I was really curious about, what I've been hearing, and I'll get back onto your train of thought. But since I
Yeah.
have you here, is I heard that the land was contaminated. And that's something that I hadn't previously heard. And so I tried to do some searching. There's a whole number of internet sleuths, and I couldn't find anything to validate that. And I know people
It's
lie a lot.
not true. Right where the schools, actually, you would love it because it's actually 3 different buildings. It's one school. And my idea was was when I first sat down at the table with him concerning the school called Reverend Moyer. Theo Gregory built the schools. Okay. And if you need his information, I can, and he still worked with children to this day.
Okay.
My idea was, because it was 2 separate buildings, that you had one building for the girls, one building for the guys, and then you had, the sports or whatever. But my idea was, so the girls, so we can get back to some home economics.
Yes.
Those schools no more have sewing, how to cook,
Talk
how,
about it.
how to be a woman. There is
That's
no
right.
school for that. And
Talk about
women
it.
and men by nature are going to attract to each other. This is just
Mhm.
by nature. And
Yeah.
we have to learn how to be with the opposite sex and not have sex.
Let's pause right there. Now, she actually makes a good point about saying her suggestion to Umar was to have one school be boys, one school be girls, and get to basically have young men and young women interact with removing sex. But the problem with that is Umar Johnson is overly sexualized himself. I mean, if you've seen any of his lives, his Instagram, he's constantly referring to women's body parts, 5'5", thick in the thighs. He's been on live and a woman passed by and he gets easily distracted. So see, the problem with this whole situation is even if you take away the scam element, Umar Johnson is not the right individual to be opening up a school. Mentally, I mean, in my opinion, there's definitely some mental health going on there. They say he may have a substance abuse problem. Again, opening up a school for black boys and black girls, yes, they're needed, but Umar Johnson is definitely not the right person for this job.
In other words, I I
Yeah.
was telling him it might be a good idea to have one of the schools for the females and one of the schools for the males. You know what I'm saying? And teach them to be ready to deal with each other and the importance of the virginity part and everything. But
Okay.
of course, every time somebody came up with an idea, the Nation of Islam, I mean, people was calling my phone left and right. Sister Freedom, have you talked to Dr. Umar? Electricians was calling my phone. Contractors was calling my phone because they all wanted to help.
Now, she said something very important there. If you follow Umar Johnson, he told you he couldn't get any community support. He couldn't get anybody to volunteer their time, whether it was electrician, whether it was contractors. Again, we all knew that was always a lie. But here we go, another person locally. Again, she helped Umar Johnson find the schools, and she had a relationship with him. And she's telling you firsthand knowledge that multiple people from multiple different disciplines were reaching out to volunteer their services. Again, this is just another example how this school was never going to open. It was a scam. It was a money grab. He had all the resources he needed to make to make this school open. It should not be going on 7 years. Now going into year 7, and you got to get a payment plan for vacant property fees for $40,000. The school should have already been open and operating at this point. So again, this is just another example that we see here, that this school was never going to open. See, she's operating under the premise, like I said earlier, that this school was actually, like, Umar had good intentions and wanted to open a school for black boys, when that's not the case at all.
But every single time somebody wanted to help, they were turned down. No, I don't want to do this.
By
I don't
Dr.
have
Umar, you're saying?
that's the whole narcissist thing. I got this idea to do this, and it can't happen. See, first, the schools are in an area where you would probably want to gate it in. You see what I'm saying? If you were going to have children spend the night, because the school that he was trying to say that he was having, you would have had to pay to come to.
So is it a boarding school? Is that what it was supposed to be?
No, these were just schools for education. Because Theo Gregory built a school for education. He started in a trailer, because I heard Jamar, he's
Lord
another
Jamar.
rapper or something. Yeah. He was telling him how his people started in a trailer. And that's exactly what Theo Gregory started. Those schools were in a trailer until he made enough money to get those schools built.
Let's pause right there. She's jumping around a little bit, but she's making some good points here. Umar Johnson should have never bought a building of that size if we just assume that his intentions were true, which we know they're not. But as you can see, the gentleman who founded the school started in a trailer. She referred to Lord Jamar in the interview. I think his father-in-law started with trailers. They started small and had a proof of concept. And once they had a proof of concept, then they were able to grow bigger and get an actual building. Umar Johnson did the exact opposite. He went and got these large vacant buildings in the middle of the hood that needed, close to probably 7 figures in repairs, and then thought he was going to be able to Cash App and PayPal his way to opening this school. Again, it never made any sense from the very beginning. My belief is he brought those schools intentionally, knowing they needed so much work, and that would play perfectly into this scam to drag it out for decades and decades. Because again, he would slow walk the repairs, as we see. It took him 2 years just to get the electricity turned on. Then the AC, that was a whole nother saga. Then it was paint. Now we're working on, he's been talking about tile for over a year now. And, it's always something that happens right as you get to the finish line.
He was the president of city council. So he had the backings, and there's so many grants you can use to have had the schools built.
Sure.
I just don't understand why. And I'm trying my hardest not to say anything rude, because I don't want him to take offense, like Sister Freedom talking about me in a negative manner. That's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to do is save the situation. Then I'm gonna tell you now, with all the stuff that's online, the disrespect, all the new things, nobody is going to help him here.
There's no, let's be real. There's no saving this school. There's no saving it absolutely at all. Again, Umar had all the resources he needed if he truly wanted to open this school. Understand that. He keeps trying to make it seem like black people didn't do enough to help him. No, he did not want the help. He was turning down help. That's the reality that a lot of Umar Johnson supporters don't know. And seeing people like her, she knew this information for years. And there's a lot of people behind the scenes that knew Umar wasn't, what he was doing wasn't right. And now, they're finally, which is good, they're finally coming out to speak on it. But see, people should have came out years ago and could have saved a lot of people a lot of money from this FDMG school scam. It's sad that, now that this thing is finally culminating, and, people are finally starting to see the light, that, that this was a scam, plain and simple.
And when
That's
I
what
say
I was
that,
guessing, yeah.
and when you kept saying, I want to work with him. I'm saying, how can I get in touch with him to tell him, no, if you can find a way to get to schools, wait, I'm sorry, I'm gonna just hang it up. If you can find a way to get to schools, if I can find some information, and I'm not trying to knock him out the box, but it's pretty much done did it himself. No disrespect or nothing, you
Sure.
know, because I already know that I don't want to, my Taurus energy, okay, want to stay with Taurus energy. And you know what I mean. You're a Taurus. You know what I'm saying? So I want to see how this can work because I want it to stay in our hands. You see what I
That'd be nice,
mean?
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
if
that'd
it
be
was
nice.
just if the schools are in a black neighborhood, and it's not just that I don't know if you know
Are they
Dr.
really
G,
in a black neighborhood?
they're in a black neighborhood. The
Because
schools are in
I only
black.
asked that because it seems like he was like suggesting that he doesn't trust the neighborhood. He's like, they left it in a low income neighborhood, and how you going? And it's just like, but this is the black
Well,
neighborhood, and you're doing this for the black people.
right. I mean, it's no different than nowhere else. I don't know why our own people put us down like that, but it's no different than nowhere else
Right?
than nowhere else. Because if a school is that, I never know anything about those schools being messed up until the schools were completely closed.
Yes.
You understand what
Okay.
I'm saying? But while the schools were in working, nobody was going in the schools messing with the schools. But they
Yeah.
sat there for so long, I guess people just did whatever they did or what have you, you know what I mean? But if you really, 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 because I don't know how he can say no. I
That's
mean,
what I
you
was banking on. And to be honest with you, my goal was not to do a partnership with Dr. Umar in as much as my observation of how he's conducted himself is he doesn't like other men to be involved in what he's doing. And I respect that. And so I didn't foresee that, and when I come along, I want to move at a fast pace. I want to get things done. I want to deliver. I want people to be able to sit back and like, like that's one, like that's the guy. Like he said he's gonna do it and he actually did it. That's my goal. And so I don't foresee that I'd be able to do that in partnership with Dr. Umar. So my actual goal was to simply acquire the building and then separately give education and some of the things that you mentioned. I think we're on the same page with regards to home economics, and I also think females should know how to garden.
young men, excuse me for interrupting you, Marquette. The young men, they need to get back. You remember when you was in school, right? The things that the youth men, they learned electricity.
They didn't have that when I was in school, but I also went to like a pretty crummy school.
But the
So
plumbing and things of this nature, you can have people come in
mhm.
and donate time. They don't even ask them for money. They want to come in and donate their time to be the big brothers that pay back the universe. You understand what I'm saying? We need sisters to go and teach these sisters how to make macaroni and cheese, sweet potatoes, fried chicken. I mean, the things that we need to teach them how to wash clothes, when to use white cold water, when we need these things. So this was my vision of the schools. But every time you try to bring some, that's not my vision. Well, sister, I'm not going to do that. And this, that, and another.
Mhm.
Even when he has events, none of the city council, none of them show up.
Mhm.
I mean, you want
The reason why none of them show up because honestly, it's blatant to anyone with any type of common sense that this is a scam. That's why. That's why he's been on so many platforms, you know, $100 million platforms, being around multi-millionaires, and he's never received any donations from these people. They use him. They use him because they know he's going to come up there. He has the gift of gab. He's very entertaining. He's absolutely hilarious with some of the things that he says. That's undeniable. So they use him for views. They use him for likes, and then they let him go about his day. No one takes Umar Johnson seriously. If you've watched his content, you watched his lives, and you watch the progression over this FDMG school scam for the past, since he acquired the buildings in 2019, you could tell that this guy is not serious about opening a school. Just even the way he carries himself. I've never heard a principal speak in the manner that he does. Says the things that he does out loud and on social media. That's not the way you carry yourself as a leader. Again, it doesn't take 7 years to open up a school if you're serious. He's never not once did a weekend class for black boys, a Zoom class, anything to show like, hey, we don't have the school open yet, but hey, I still want to do something to at least reach back, so and try to educate these boys in some type of fashion. You got to understand, like literally, these young men that were supposed to be going to the school are now grown men and probably have children of their own, and the school is nowhere near open. Now he has to get on a payment plan for $40,000. Y'all think that this guy is really going to have the money to open the school, not only open the school, but have the operational budget to keep it open from day to day off of Cash App and PayPal's? This is the guy that when he allegedly told us that the bank account was frozen and told us that the bank was going to call on Friday, and then he went on a lecture and went on stage and told us that he forgot to call the bank on Friday or answer the calls. He doesn't. I mean, this is the guy that you think is really going to open the school, is going to be a leader. This is the guy that you think is going to deliver. He's all talk, and it's sad because I mean, individuals like this really set back the community. I mean, because now there's such a mistrust when the next individual may come along and they want to try to do something as far as opening up a school.
Want this? You want to know that you got the backing of the city behind you.
Yes, I agree with you there.
So that's the reason why I was like, when you said you was going to help him and this, that, and another, I said, well, maybe if they know that somebody else is coming here with a strong mindset, they'll be like, okay, I like what this brother is saying. You know what I mean? The Nation of Islam, because they was always security. So even when he says that there's no security, that is not true. Because the Nation of Islam, which is only like blocks from the school, they had it. And because
there's a Muhammad mosque not too far from the school.
From the school.
Wow.
From the school.
That's a great aspect.
This place is right around the corner. The House of Reawakening Mind.
Yeah.
You touch the school from her building, and it's right there. Right behind, and right next door is a girls and boys club.
That's like, a pretty good location then.
Okay, that part.
Yeah.
So I don't want us to lose this school.
I'm gonna pause it right there. I mean, that's pretty much the gist of it. But I mean, as you can see, all the resources were there for Umar Johnson to be successful in opening the school if that wasn't his true intention. But his true intention was to never open a school. This was a scam from the start. This was a money grab from the start, and he was able to extend this con for over a decade. And I mean, and it's still going. Again, this is just another piece to the puzzle that proves that Umar Johnson had plenty of support. He always would say, I don't need. We have enough money for the labor. We have enough money for the supplies. We just need people to donate their labor. As you heard firsthand, this is another person who had direct firsthand contact with Umar Johnson, helped him find the schools in Wilmington, Delaware, and she told you he had numerous people calling her phone personally, from electricians to contractors to plumbers, who were willing to donate their time. But Umar Johnson turned it down. But let me know what you think in the comments below. I look forward to hearing from you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.